Hey guys, it's Jenny Silver, and today I want to talk to those of you in the state of California about an update on some of the major issues that we are seeing with the California EDD this week. I like to put out one centralized, long and dense video that compounds the major problems that we are seeing amongst claimants in the last week. My channel receives thousands of comments a day, and so I'm able to see the major problems that you guys are all experiencing over the last week and create one centralized video where hopefully your problem will be addressed. These videos tend to be rather dense, unfortunately, because there are many issues within the EDD right now. So use the timestamp menu down below if you want to skip ahead to your specific issue. First, let's talk about those of you that are stuck in pending. If you have certifications that are stuck in pending, you are not alone. This is a big problem for many of you right now. Unfortunately, in order to get your pending certifications pushed to paid, for most cases, it's going to require you to get a hold of a customer service representative, either through calling into the EDD or through contacting an assembly member and having them contact EDD on your behalf. First, if you have reached the end of your benefit year and you are UI, PEUC, or Fed Ed, you are required to file a new claim once you reach the end of 12 months worth of benefits. Look in your UI online at your claim start date. Count 12 months out after that. That's the end of your benefit year. Even if it states on extension, or even if you were recently awarded a new extension, yes, you are still required to file a new claim when you reach the end of 12 months worth of benefits after your claim start date. Now, if you have not filed a new claim and you have been certifying and those certifications are stuck in pending, that is the reason why. In order to get paid, you must file a new claim. Once you file a new claim, your pending certifications may get pushed to paid automatically. However, if you qualify to receive a new claim, most likely those pending certifications will not be migrated over to your new claim. Unfortunately, the EDD does not seem to do this automatically, and if you are awarded a new claim, you must then either call into customer service or request your new claim to be backdated through Ask EDD. Now, what about if you are within your benefit year or if you have already filed a new claim? Well, for those of you that are within your benefit year, you could be pending for a number of different issues. Number one is going to be if you're required to submit some sort of ID verification, address verification, or other documentation to the EDD. If you have not yet submitted that, you are going to be pending until you submit it and it is processed. If you have already sent in the required documentation, if it is ID verification through ID.me, EDD should apply that verification to your claim within 10 business days. If they have not done so, then I would call into customer service at that point in time. If you're required to upload documents via UI online, unfortunately, that process can take up to 6 weeks for them to verify your documents and apply it to your claim. If it was me personally, I would start calling into customer service or contact your assembly member to follow up once it has been 2 weeks or longer. Next, let's talk about those of you that are stuck in pending, starting claim week ending 4/10 and beyond. If 4/10 is a pending week for you and all of the weeks following 4/10 are also pending, you most likely are pending because the EDD has entered into a new quarter. Claim week ending 4/10 is the first week in a new quarter. EDD seems to be applying a stop payment alert to claims until they verify you for the new quarter. Unfortunately, EDD is not reaching out regarding this, and claimants are reporting back to me that this new quarter review is the reason why they are pending when they call into customer service. This is not something that seems to go away on its own, and unfortunately, it seems as if you must call into customer service in order to have this push from pending to paid. Most claimants do report that they are able to fix this immediately over the phone once they get through. Next, let's talk about those of you that are pending for other reasons. There are many other reasons why you could be pending. Some of them involve the way that you certify, such as stating that you are not looking for work or not available to work. While there are qualifying COVID reasons and work search restrictions are waived, unfortunately, the EDD has still not updated their internal systems for the pandemic. So when you certify in a certain way, it does tend to trigger their internal stop payment alert system, which holds your payments and puts you in pending. If you certified and stated that you were not available for full-time work, that you were not looking for work, or if you claimed income, oftentimes that will put you into pending, and they must then conduct a phone interview and gather more information from you before they will push you from pending to paid. Next, let's talk about those of you who have recently filed a new claim, were awarded a new claim, certified under that new claim, and now are stuck in pending. This is because the EDD sends out your information to a third-party company called Thomson Reuters. Thomson Reuters performs additional fraud checks on your account before the EDD will pay you out. All certifications will be stuck in pending until that third-party review is completed. The EDD states that this will take up to 3 weeks. Unfortunately, some are seeing it take a few weeks longer. If you are pending for any longer than 3 weeks, that is the point in time in which I would call into customer service to see if there is anything additional that they need to do to push you from pending to paid. Next, let's talk about those of you who must undergo a phone interview. Unfortunately, the EDD is requiring many claimants to conduct phone interviews in order to verify information, reasons why they left their job, if they are still available for full-time work, and other various pieces of information that they must collect. Now, unfortunately, these phone interviews are taking a significant amount of time to schedule. Claimants are reporting back to me that they are not receiving their phone appointment for anywhere from 2 weeks up until 8 weeks after they are first told that they are required to do a phone interview. Now, many are waiting up to 8 weeks to receive their phone interview scheduled. If you're waiting any longer than 2 weeks to receive a phone interview, I would contact your assembly member and see if they're able to work on your behalf to communicate with EDD to get things moving any faster. EDD states that once you have conducted your phone interview, it can take up to 10 business days for them to resolve any issues in your claim and get you pushed to paid. Next, let's talk about those of you who are receiving a notice that you are required to file a new claim after you have already filed a new claim. The EDD has been hammering it home everywhere on their website, in their text messages, on their Twitter, on their YouTube, press releases, everywhere. They are reiterating over and over again that once you reach the end of your benefit year, 12 months after your claim start date in your UI, PEUC, or Fed Ed, that you're required to file a new claim. Well, the EDD has now started to send out direct inbox messages reminding you to file a new claim. This is a good step that the EDD is sending information directly to your inbox or to your text messages. Unfortunately, they seem to have sent out a blanket statement to all claims with a certain end date, regardless of if you have already filed or not. If you received a notice that looks like this, telling you that you must file a new claim because you reached the end of your benefit year, but you already filed a new claim, I would not be concerned that you do need to file it again. The EDD should have already received your claim, processed your claim, and issued you an award letter or a denial letter, and then an award for an extension. If they already did receive your application, process your application, and send you award letter, I do believe that you are all set because you have already filed the proper paperwork required, your claim has already been updated, and you are continuing to certify and get paid. However, if it has been longer than the 3-week processing time for filing a new claim and you have not received an award letter for a new claim or for an extension, or if you are stuck in pending and it's beyond that 3-week initial review time, then I would call into customer service. Now, in addition to these inbox messages, many of you have been also asking me about this notice that you see on your dashboard when you log in. When you log into UI Online, you see 2 buttons. On the left, it says File a New Claim, and on the right, it says Manage Existing. There's also a reminder up top that reminds you that when you reach the end of your benefit year, you're required to file a new claim. These are notices that are present on all accounts. They will always be there. It is not telling you that you must do it again. It's simply an option, just as any other menu option would be present. But many people are getting confused and wondering if they do need to file a new claim again. The answer would be the same as previously stated. As long as your claim was processed, as long as you received an award letter or an extension letter, then you are all set and you do not need to do this a second time. What about those of you that are on a PUA claim, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance claim, and you received a notice that you are required to file a new claim at the end of your benefit year? Some of you are asking me about this question, and I'm not certain if you are merely noticing the notice that appears in UI Online or if you have actually received a notice. Regardless, PUA is not required to file a new claim. If you are PUA, which is going to be noted as DUA in your transaction history, you do not file a new claim. The EDD makes this very clear in all of their information that PUA is not required to file a new claim. If you have received some sort of a notice telling you that you're required to file a new claim, that applies only to UI, PEUC, and Fed Ed. Next, let's talk about the EDD customer service phone lines. The EDD is in the process of rolling out callbacks once you reach a hold line. This new feature is available to some, but not all are experiencing it yet. When you call in to EDD customer service, if you do in fact get through to a hold line, about 15 minutes into your hold, some are hearing an option to receive a call back from EDD as opposed to waiting on hold for several hours. The EDD recently had an accountability hearing with the California State Auditor, and they reported that this function is still partially implemented. It's not fully implemented. So for those of you wondering where the callback request option is, it's not fully implemented yet. However, if you sit for 15 minutes on a hold line, some are reporting that they are hearing the function where you can request to have a call back from the EDD. Unfortunately, in order to receive that call back from the EDD, it means that you must first get to a hold line, which has been extremely difficult for many of you the past several months calling into EDD. I want to share with you a few tips if you're trying to get through to EDD customer service. Number one is avoid calling on the busiest days. Monday and Tuesday are the busiest days and most difficult to get through to EDD customer service. Monday and Tuesday are extremely hard to get through the line to EDD. So if you're able to avoid calling in on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday through Sunday still seem to be the easiest days to get through on the phone lines. Additionally, if you speak a different language, the EDD has several different language options. Those who use a different language option report shorter hold times and a faster likelihood of getting through to a hold line. Next, the fastest way to get through the phone line still seems to be calling 1-833-978-2511. Select 1 for English or 2 for Spanish, and then when the announcer states select from the following, you're going to type in 1, 3, 4 all together. This takes many tries in order to get through, but because I'm still receiving about a 50% success rate reported in my video comments on this tip, I still like sharing it with claimants. So don't expect to get through the first try like I show in the video, because that video was filmed several months ago. But that trick is still getting about a 50% success rate on subscribers, letting me know that it did help them to get through faster. So click the link to view that phone trick in the video description down below and give it a try. Next, if you are unable to get through to customer service, you can contact your assembly member. Assembly members have been extremely helpful in helping many of my subscribers get pushed from pending to paid or resolve other issues. In the video description, you will find a link that you can click on in order to locate your assembly member and their contact information. Please don't skip this step or overlook this as something that might not be helpful, because it has helped many individuals to, number one, avoid having to call into customer service if they can't get through, and number two, get their issues pushed from pending to paid much faster. If you are fed up with trying to get through to a hold line and you want to pay a third-party service in order to send a hold line to you, Claimer's link is in the video description down below. I have two videos, one where I test using Claimer and one where I go through all of your questions and concerns about this company, including a Zoom call with the CEO. So this is interesting and informative if you guys are looking into the use of a third party in order to contact EDD. It should not be necessary to use a third-party service in order to get help from a government agency, which should be paying you, but I've had overwhelmingly positive feedback from my subscribers who have chosen to use this service. Lastly, I'm going to share a tip on how to get help from an EDD customer service representative that I haven't tried yet. Normally, I would like to test out anything that I am recommending, so I'm not necessarily recommending this, but I'm putting it out there for you guys who want to test it out and report back to me if it worked for you. Now, American Job Centers are branches across the United States that work in conjunction with the unemployment departments. I'm going to leave the link for where you can locate the American Job Center in your area, because what I'm hearing back from many of my subscribers is that when they call into an American Job Center, they inform the customer service rep that they are having trouble getting through to the EDD, and they ask them if they can connect them with an EDD customer service representative, that they are able to do so. They are able to call through a direct line to the EDD and then patch them through to the call. You guys, I haven't been able to test it yet. So if you are someone that wants to give this a try, I'm going to leave the link in the video description down below. Give it a try, see if they're able to connect you to the EDD, and then let me know in the comments if it worked for you. Next, let's talk about work search requirements. As some businesses are beginning to open back up, many of you are wondering if the work search requirements are still waived and if it is a requirement for you to submit your resume to CalJobs. The EDD still states under eligibility that the work search requirements are currently still waived. This means that you must be available and able to accept full-time work, but you are not required to search for work. Keep in mind that as you are certifying your biweekly certifications, if you state that you are not looking for work, it could potentially trigger a stop payment alert in EDD's internal computer system, which means that you may be stuck in pending and then required to undergo a phone interview. No, you are not required to look for work. However, their internal computer system is still not set up to accept these pandemic-related answers. I still recommend that it is the safest if you want to avoid a pending issue to certify that yes, you are looking for work, and then look for work in order to back up that statement. Now, many of you are asking if it's a requirement to upload your resume to CalJobs. EDD states that the work search requirements are waived, but it does not mention anything about CalJobs. At this point in time, I would recommend that you do still upload your resume to CalJobs and fulfill that requirement. It is fairly simple to do, and you do not want to get stuck in pending for something that could be easily avoided. Next, let's talk about those of you who have not received an extension. If you are within your benefit year, 12 months after your claim start date for UI, PEUC, or Fed Ed, you are at a zero balance and you have been waiting over 2 weeks to receive your extension. Some of you may have been waiting for months. You need to call into customer service or contact your assembly member if you can't get through. Unfortunately, the EDD stated to me in an email through a news reporter that they have completed the rollout of PEUC extensions. Unfortunately, many of you have not received this extension. So if you are still waiting and you've been waiting longer than 2 weeks and it was not automatically applied to your claim that is within your benefit year, make sure you contact customer service. Next, let's talk about those of you that are having problems with ID.me verification. If you're having trouble verifying your identity through ID.me, I want you to know that if you have a frozen, locked credit report, that can cause your verification to be rejected. Additionally, if your phone is not registered to you in your name, then that can cause your ID verification to be rejected. Next, you want to make sure that if you are required to get on a video call with a trusted referee, that you try to initiate this between midnight and 5 a.m. Why? Because individuals are reporting back to me that their hold times for a video chat are up to 5 hours plus. So unfortunately, people are reporting that if they initiate the video call in the middle of the night, because the service is 24 hours, that they get a much shorter hold time. Additionally, if you cannot get help and you're having trouble with ID.me, I want you to go on Twitter and even create an account if you don't already have one. Send out a tweet to the CEO, Blake Hall, and ID.me will respond to you and provide you help that way. Next, let's talk about those of you who are wondering why you did not receive the full PEUC extension that will take you up until claim week ending September 4th. Well, the PEUC extension comes in 3 separate phases, and you must zero out your balance from each one of those phases before you move on to the next. The first PEUC extension is simply called PEUC, and it is 13 weeks long. The second phase of the PEUC extension is called Extension Tier 2, or if you call into customer service, they call it PEUX. This extension is 11 weeks long. And the third and final phase of the PEUC extension is called Extension Tier 2 Augmentation, or if you call into customer service, they call it PEUY. This is the additional 29 weeks that will take you up until claim week ending September 4th. You must completely zero out your balance before they automatically award you the next phase of the extension. And lastly, many of you are going back to work, but it may be for part-time hours. If you have been called back to work and it is part-time, or if you have accepted new employment and it is only for part-time earnings, I want you to know that you can still continue to certify for your unemployment benefits, and you may be able to receive a partial payment. If in your job you earn less than $100 per week, you're going to subtract $25 from however much you earned that week. That is then going to be the amount that is taken away from your weekly benefit award amount. If you earn over $100, then you will subtract the first 25% of your earnings, and the rest of that amount will be taken away from your weekly benefit award amount. In order to collect the $300 boost, you must have collected at least $1 in unemployment benefits for the week. If you earned too much and it puts you over that threshold for being able to collect any benefits, you'll be marked as excessive earnings, and you can continue to certify the following week in case you earn less. Okay, you guys, I hope that was helpful. Please click like, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below. But it still has been helpful at getting people through faster, so give it a try. Well, give it 80 tries, probably what it's going to be like. Ugh.
I sat on your stuff.
I know, you sat on my stuff. Hold the light better. Hold on, I gotta fix my dress. Hi, what are you doing? Leave a comment. Say, hello, YouTube.